There are people who claim to feel a very special connection with the universe and to be open to it presenting them with the guidance and knowledge they need to navigate their journey better. Rather than feeling like they are traveling a senseless path, these beings feel they are in the midst of an experience specially orchestrated for them by divine forces. That's why they open themselves up in consciousness and knowledge to allow the universe to deliver that wealth of knowledge and messages, ones that, when accepted with love and understanding, can lead us to the most beautiful and blessed places for us. Developing the level of consciousness necessary for our being to be open to the messages of the universe is a wonderful ability, which can be rewarding both spiritually and materially. In addition to guiding us on our journey and toward the fulfillment of our true purpose, these guides allow us to act harmoniously in the earthly plane, aligned with access to a better lifestyle. And although it may sound like something wonderful and very complex to experience, the truth is that these universal guides and messages of love and compassion are always within reach of everyone, but it's up to us to open ourselves to receive and accept them. It's also important to mention that this communication from the universe to you can arise from moments when a very strong energetic wave is coming over you, or from transformations that are occurring and that, due to their subtlety, may not be conscious to you. As mentioned before, the universe is always ready and willing to provide you with all the information and guidance you need, and it may even be trying to contact you right now. All it takes is paying a little attention. The communication channels of the universe are extensive, and its forms of expression are so perfect and subtle that they tend to be confused with simple, isolated events, when in reality, such things do not exist because within the reality we live in and in this beautiful universe, there is not a single causality. Everything is planned and has a reason for being and an origin. A clear example of this is the way numbers and numerical sequences present themselves to us, which often carry profound meaning and a precious message for us. Therefore, in the face of the reluctance of these events, we must open ourselves to see things from a less conventional perspective and more rooted in spirituality and energy. In this regard, it is pertinent to talk about numerology and the way in which those numbers or numerical sequences are part of the perfect language of the universe, attributing to each not only their apparent value, but also bringing messages of love, hope, and often alertness to the changes and important events that are approaching your life and reality. And being such a broad form of communication between this wonderful place that allows us to exist and ourselves, it is most logical that we open ourselves to understand the foundations that make up this cosmic system of message delivery. For our desire is actually to reach a very particular numerical sequence, one that fills us with hope amidst our process because of what it might signify. That is the sequence of 888. Therefore, after laying the groundwork for understanding this form of universe communication, let's lovingly immerse ourselves in what the appearance of this sequence contains on a spiritual level. So without further delay, let's understand a little about what numerology is and how it seeks to bring messages to us, needing to search for the origin of this study and its postulates. This science initially arose from the discernments and analyses of Pythagoras, who is considered the father of numerology, as his postulates were those that gave rise to the study of these sequences and their relationship with the events and energies that move in the life and reality of each being. It is important to look at the way in which, at the time, his theories were presented. This important thinker ended up being seen as a disturbed or mismatched individual because the ideas he promulgated were far ahead of his time. What no one could imagine is that some years later, these ideas that were taken as madness would end up being endorsed by other great minds in the world of metaphysics. And today, Pythagoras' discernments ended up serving as a guide for those seeking to decipher the profound messages from the universe, which are also attributed with the quality of seeking to help each soul find the light, and from there, better understand the universe, its way of moving, and what it holds for each of us. Moreover, when a deep inner work has been carried out within us, it must ultimately cause the universe to tremble and react to that new wave that occurs from the slightest movement of your soul and its energies. In this sense, we must mention the message that Pythagoras attributed to the appearance of the numerical sequence 888, which said that it presaged an imminent manifestation, which was a response to an arduous and very deep process of healing and improvement of each of the aspects that compose us. While few may end up considering this number and give more weight to the appearance of the sequence 111, the truth is that behind the common lies a world of probabilities, and in this case, messages that the universe can deliver. It's beautiful to think of that precious moment when the universe confirms to you that what you've been striving for is going to take physical form, as this is the message many await throughout their lives, understanding that if it hasn't arrived yet, it's because there are still certain things within you that require your attention and commitment. In this sense, it's important to emphasize that the appearance of numbers or sequences of them repeatedly is not a recent phenomenon. As we've seen thanks to Pythagoras, it's an event that has been taking shape for many years but has only been given space until now, largely due to people's reluctance to feel that something larger than them is contacting them. This phenomenon should be appreciated as the silent voice given to the universe, which in the midst of every energetic change it perceives from us, has a response, one that is evidenced thanks to these and other subtle gestures, which, as mentioned earlier, tend to be so subtle that we end up attributing them to isolated events. But those who have opened their consciousness to understand that the universe is not simply a space in which we dwell, but is a perfect living system in the midst of which important energies are generated that give rise to our existence, have also opened themselves to understand that this marvelous energy source needs to connect with us and transmit information. And it's impossible to ignore that from the depths of our soul, we are always receiving information emanating from it, but it presents itself as intuition, one that we often end up ignoring. Therefore, it's necessary at times for the knowledge and omens that the universe wants to give us to derive from more visible occurrences, like the appearance of numerical sequences. Some even think that it's a wonderful and perfect way for the universe to prevent us from faltering along our path, as we must observe that for some, their journey is much more challenging than for others, especially if they fail to become conscious of it. It's not uncommon to see how the universe presents us with endless opportunities for the growth of our soul, which manifest as difficult challenges that sometimes make us doubt if we are on the right path. Even if the person has aligned with their inner voice and with that intuition that characterizes balanced beings correctly, in our condition as human beings, we can become exhausted in certain stretches and question what is happening to us and the actions we are taking. But when these changes we're making are so profound and aligned with our true essence, somehow we obtain that approval and that small touch of light that urges us not to falter, and above all, to continue advancing steadfastly, motivated at all times by that impressive reward that awaits us. Viewing things in this context is how we can better understand the appearance of the numerical sequence 8888, which is also called the triple infinity sequence, as the shape of the number 8 refers to this symbol, which has deep cosmic and energetic symbolism. For those versed in numerology, the message contained in this sequence is deeply inspiring, speaking to the way that person has been undergoing significant internal transformations, which in one way or another have brought them to the present moment and are leading them towards a path of success that is increasingly approaching manifestation. This tells us that, in one way or another, that cherished goal we are seeking could be nearing fruition, and that however distant the possibility of embracing what we desire may seem, it will soon be before us. For many, the appearance of 888 represents one of the most cherished messages one can receive, surpassing any other kind of numerical message that may arise, as it not only speaks of that precious treasure that is arriving in our reality, but also of changes and a cycle that is completing, one that is endless, but has an important turning point at this moment. This message can refer to any aspect of your life in which you have been investing your energy to improve. So it is not limiting when it comes to manifestation, but broadly encompasses good fortune, money, projects, and even the most ambiguous areas of your existence that have been touched by the internal work you are undertaking. This sequence not only speaks of the way we are making changes that resonate in our reality and in the journey of the soul we are undertaking, but also invites us to appreciate the direction in which we are heading and to understand that no matter the challenges that arise along the way, the chosen path is actually the correct and true one if we seek to achieve a real objective and growth. Let's also remember that each sequence possesses a characteristic and unique vibration within the universe, so the arrival or appearance of these can greatly influence our lives. Particularly when we talk about 8888, we have to appreciate that aspect of its message that urges us to keep moving forward, as we have divine backing and the support of the guiding beings and beings of light that exist in the universe. We must also appreciate how the universe itself supports us and provides us with the necessary energies, granting us perfect alignment to materialize and manifest those plans, projects, and goals we have set for ourselves. Encountering the 888 entails encountering a powerful transformative energy, one that supports what we have been doing as if it were an enhancer of our change, one that is provided hand in hand with the universe and in harmony with the higher plan designed for our lives. We can say with certainty that this message opens our eyes to the great fountain of blessings that is pouring into our lives, and that cannot be stopped by absolutely anything or anyone. The appearance of this sequence in our lives is also deeply rooted in abundance, prosperity, and wealth, as these aspects of our lives must be understood as a product of our internal states and the level of consciousness and balance we have managed to achieve. And indeed, the way in which the 888 brings this message and energy into our lives must invite us to clearly flow with the universe and with all the things that happen in the midst of our journey, because each of those currents moves to take us to the peak of our abilities, while also leading us to that place where we will receive all the blessings we seek and are divinely entitled to. Receiving the message of the 888 is not always straightforward, as its appearance may occur at those moments when our being is going through strong challenges that make us doubt. But it is precisely in the face of that doubt that this sequence appears as a message from the universe inviting us to continue in the direction we have set for ourselves, assuring us that beyond this storm lies the treasure we seek. This event in which the 888 appears in our lives can not only be a driving force in our process, but can also end up being a powerful source of hope in the midst of the adversities that exist at the moment, because very soon the storm will pass, and we will see clearly what we have dreamed of. If we manage to understand deeply what the 888 represents, we will realize that it is also an indication of many new opportunities from which greater rewards will follow than we have been able to collect so far, placing us in front of scenarios we once thought impossible. Our life is poised on a path of opportunity, success, blessings, and fulfillment, as long as we take this momentum presented by the 888 and know how to flow harmoniously with the energetic currents set for our journey. This is also an important reminder of that magnificent universal law that governs us and can be used for the benefit of our being and all our plans, none other than the law of attraction, which, as we know, is present in everything we experience and is completely accurate and infallible. The more we delve into understanding that we are the main responsible for everything that happens to us, an indescribable energy begins to generate within us that ends up empowering us completely. The 888 can be that spark that ignites the flame of determination and faith, from which we will manifest everything we desire in our lives, especially regarding our well-being and access to a better quality of life. It is important not to overlook what the law of attraction dictates to us, which tells us that what we vibrate with will be what the universe brings into our reality, which in one way or another calls us to fulfill ourselves and to take care of every aspect of our being, which will inevitably translate into that perfect reality we aspire to. Each of us creates and maintains the reality we experience, and when we internalize this, we realize that abundance and good fortune can only arise from within ourselves, so it is necessary to get to work if we really want to access the infinite blessings that the universe holds for us. Although we often overlook it, abundance exists all around us. The universe gives it to us in everything that surrounds us and leaves it within our reach. But usually, people do not access it because they are tied to a vision of scarcity and lack of opportunity. But those who manage to break free from those beliefs and rid themselves of that optical illusion end up aligning themselves with the energies of the 888, making everything in their life rich and abundant, which is why we end up experiencing the materialization of our desires. And this does not mean that they were not there before, but rather that they were so visible that from our insistence on looking elsewhere, we did not even take them into account. What you see manifesting in your life today is not something that suddenly appeared, but on the contrary, it is something that has always been within our reach, waiting for us to take it and make it part of the great number of blessings we embrace. Everything aligns perfectly from our conscious determination to make our dreams come true, and by doing so, we will end up tuning in with the energies of the universe, with how it flows, and even with the 888. This number brings us deep mysteries to decipher, but each and every one of them rooted in the idea of making us manifest what we desire in this earthly plane. So we must evaluate upon its appearance those factors and things that surround us and may simply be there, waiting for us to channel them for the benefit of our goals. Beyond what some may think, the 8888 does not only appear to give messages, to open our eyes, or solely to give hope, but it also has an energetic purpose, just like everything else in the universe. Every seemingly insignificant thing we think is actually a perfectly placed piece by the universe, so that everything in your life ends up fitting into the right shape, and so that your journey aligns with the purpose our soul carries. The presence of 888 coincides with a moment of spiritual growth from which we can see the immense shifts our reality will undergo. And this is possible thanks to the effect that the energy of this sequence has on us, making us perceive the foundations of manifestation in a much simpler and friendlier way. The way we must direct our thoughts and emotions towards the universe to achieve the desired effect becomes clearer, guided also by our instincts and that intuition that seems to increase just at this point. From this understanding, we end up opening the necessary doors for abundance and growth, as in addition to allowing the energies of money, prosperity, and abundance to settle within us, we also manage to self-discover and tune in with our true selves, which is a necessary task amidst manifestation and consciousness elevation. No matter how big the doubts raised may be, it can be ensured that from this moment of clarity in which we see our being more sincerely, we can access a universe of possibilities from which we can transform every aspect of our lives to resemble what we have envisioned as a dream reality. 888 will not only strongly influence what is coming into our lives, but it will also end up being a key factor in our personal and spiritual growth, marking a before and after in our lives, and being this driving force that is often essential to finally achieve our goals. The appearance of this divine message allows us to become conscious and see within ourselves those treasures and that wisdom with which we were loaded, while also receiving signs of that divine purpose that has accompanied our soul from the very beginning. This type of discovery from consciousness can imbue us with grace, strength, and great determination, key factors when it comes to talking about results in this manifestation process that is intrinsic to our journey. And although the presence of this type of energy may shake our being, it is important not to close ourselves off to either the message or the transformational work that 888 seeks to carry out in each soul. Because like many other things, This gift from the universe has the ability to change everything and to make us embrace what we are seeking in every aspect of our lives. Although it represents a powerful and unfamiliar vibration for many, allowing the great force that accompanies this universal message to engulf us can lead us to appreciate ourselves and our surroundings in very different ways, from which we will access those blessings and that supreme well-being that 888 brings with it. Many even consider that 888 represents the culmination of that path of abundance, in which we find ourselves in absolute prosperity, wealth, and fullness, not only on a material level, but also on a spiritual level, since these treasures that we have within us and that are intangible are symptoms of a wealthy person. What adorns our being is not only on the outside, although this will necessarily manifest itself from the energies of 888. Since this phenomenon also invites us to enrich ourselves on the inside, in what constitutes our soul and its power. This is considered a sacred number that opens the doors for the chosen ones to benefit from the universe and to become rich individuals in a comprehensive way. That is, that abundance is possessed not only in their reality, but also within themselves. Every person who lets these energies into their being ends up elevating themselves in consciousness, which is why they end up embracing manifestation and flowing with the energies of the universe at the same time. The arrival of 888 represents a turning point in our path, because it nourishes and strengthens us in every aspect, confronts us with what needs to be resolved immediately, and from the energies of the universe, it provides relief, completely renewing our strength and empowering us entirely. We can feel the energy of 888 coursing through our being, which is frightening for many. But like everything else, it is part of those aids that elevated forces provide us with, so that we can reach our destination. Beyond the simple, we must understand that this energy and sequence sent by the universe is not only meant to comfort us regarding our goals and mission, but also allows each one to advance spiritually, causing others to advance as well. Our energy resonates powerfully in the universe, and when it comes from such an important event as this, or even better, from a change that touches such deep aspects, we cannot doubt that it will end up dragging others forcefully along. The disposition we have towards this moment will cause our vibration to drag others to the same point, because as we know, everything is connected in the universe. Our souls are linked by unbreakable energetic threads that make us a great unity, which means that our actions and movements, both physical and spiritual, end up causing those threads to move and impact the journey of others. It is thanks to this that many maintain that our progress translates into the progress of others, and of course, our growth also implies growth for others, functioning in a reverse manner as well, meaning that while others grow and advance, they are also pulling us along to do the same. That's how magical the universe and our being are, but also how wonderful the effect of the energy of 888 is in our lives and the lives of others. This is a truth that has been widely disseminated over time, with records of ancient communities and civilizations venerating the appearance of such symbols and messages from the universe, because even in their limited understanding, they understood that they were positive omens for their people and for each individual member thereof. Some of these stories have transcended time as anecdotes, describing the exact moment when 888 becomes present for a soul, always relying on that principle of unity. Hence, they celebrated this event, fully aware that the blessing received by that man or woman also benefited those who lived alongside them. Thanks to these experiences that have prevailed over time, some have taken it upon themselves to see if instead of simply waiting for the energy of 888 to reach them, they could attract it, so that it precipitates them to that moment of transformation and therefore of blessing. If we analyse this carefully, it makes a lot of sense to think that being an energy of the universe, it is within reach and disposition of all beings who inhabit here. We then reach the conclusion that, like other sciences, numerology can be employed from consciousness, always in harmony with the universe and seeking well-being for ourselves. In other words, numerology cannot be used to harm others, but it is a force that has the sole purpose of building good things in our reality, thereby provoking the alignment of every internal aspect necessary for this manifestation. So as long as our intentions are for the integral growth of our soul, we can harness these forces and channel them towards our journey and our being. Over the years, there have already been intrepid individuals who venture to experiment with this resource that the universe offers us, managing to generate a series of records of the ways in which some have effectively attracted that force into their lives. Among these famous anecdotes stands out the story of a woman who approached the idea of numerology, being captivated by what it claimed to offer to souls in the earthly realm. Therefore, she pondered how she could, like a magnet, pull that towards herself. Instead of resorting to affirmations or mantras, the woman decided to give a more earthly twist to her energetic magnet. She chose to write this sequence on a piece of paper that accompanied her during the nights, as it is during these times that the channels of our soul open more easily. We must remember that during the hours of sleep, our soul ventures to travel to other dimensions, leaving the physical body open to receive the energies that surround it. So, while sleeping, this woman placed her symbolic representation of 888 under her pillow, which aimed to attract those energies to herself. It is said that despite the different results expected, what happened ended up astonishing her, as it was much more than she had set out to achieve. This woman not only managed to receive on an earthly plane everything she aspired to, and more, but also began to perceive the growth of her being on a more spiritual level, which led her to live enriching experiences and increase her level of wisdom. When this news spread, many ended up commenting on how even the simplest things can end up working in our favor, thanks to the disposition and acceptance of true knowledge. However, this led a couple of people to formulate a question. Can only those who believe in numerology use it to their advantage? Is it an energy exclusive to those who believe? But this is not the case, and even in the midst of ignorance and lack of knowledge, it is reported that a man, strongly driven by the testimony of a close friend, dared to prove otherwise, even when he did not know that he was marking an important point in the history and conception of this science. The mentioned man was quite skeptical, and what motivated him to try this experiment was the way in which a close friend told him about the results obtained. Therefore, he determined to see how true it was, or how false were the words of that loved one. He inquired about the way in which that woman who created that exercise put it into practice, and with many doubts, he wrote 888 on a piece of paper, and then placed it under his pillow, repeating the same action every night in that manner. Although initially his life continued as usual, after a week, this man began to notice events that were by no means isolated and seemed to embrace each other. As if out of nowhere, a tap opened, letting flow onto this man's life a stream of opportunities and blessings. He began to perceive synchronicities in his journey, while significant opportunities for change were presenting themselves. But this is only the external aspect, because what ended up happening internally was even more astonishing. Suddenly, he felt as if his strength had been renewed, and from a higher level of consciousness, the events that unfolded in his daily life didn't seem so extraordinary, but were admired from a place of understanding. Thanks to this, the man managed to overcome many challenges that had previously represented significant barriers to his growth, and although things were transforming in a very subtle way, the changes were evident. This leads us to think that the energies of the universe go far beyond our awareness or knowledge, so even if we are not aware of how these energies move for us, they always work to our benefit. From here, we can also observe how disposition doesn't take much power in certain things, because as we saw, this man's only motivation was the curiosity to see if these energies really existed, managing in a perfect way to attract good into his reality. However, our willingness to seek new paths and explore new knowledge can provide an extra boost in our lives, which is never too much. We have to understand that the more open we are to allowing positive energies to act within us, the greater the utilization of every moment of existence. And even though many of these energies lead us to a change we don't want to face, behind that personal challenge lie endless opportunities and blessings, which have been designated for each soul according to its needs and configuration. As we have seen with the 888, behind a profound change lie the foundations and the key to accessing the manifestation of our dreams. Therefore, we must face these moments with good disposition, joy, and confidence. Let's not forget that everything is part of a higher plan for our soul, and that every tiny detail we observe is a carefully placed piece to ensure that everything fits together. The anecdote we've seen has sparked the awakening of many souls, who from curiosity end up doing this exercise and discovering a world beyond the apparent. What we've witnessed is perfect for those seeking to experience the truth of the universe, as it doesn't require much. Therefore, we invite you to also perform this test and let the 888 flood your life with the accompanying energies. You just need to place a piece of paper with the 888 under your pillow every night, and the things you'll end up experiencing will fascinate you, as well as everyone around you, making you a point of light and true knowledge in the midst of darkness. I would like you to let me know your results if you do this exercise, so I invite you to visit the comments section and write about your experience. If you liked this exercise and want to do it, let me know with a like. And lastly, I ask that you don't let others remain in ignorance. On the contrary, contribute to their process by sharing this cosmic message we're spreading. Remember, you can stay up to date with every topic we address by subscribing to this channel and turning on notifications, as we'll be together every day sharing light and knowledge. For now, we bid farewell, but we'll soon meet again. Many blessings. Many.